Hi, my name is Joshua Coleman, and here's my draft of a 3 to 5 year plan for strategic planning and policies. Holy Water Films, or HFW, will incorporate the basic elements of professional discourse via audience analysis, writing process, and design elements. Before introducing cybersecurity's essential role to Holy Water Films, let me explain how each element functions in its organization. Audience analysis will allow Holy Water Films to identify the target audience and implement methods of speaking to their interests. What captivates audience, comprehension, audience understanding, personalities, how it influences their being and actions, and beliefs, what their ideas are and where they are placed. This takes a great study of the consumers that Holy Water Films wants to serve content to and communicate with, and also gives some leeway to the audience when it comes to imagination used in the gaps left by audience analysis research. Another reason this element is important is because Holy Water Films is a film organization. Having an understanding of the audience makes writing content and marketing the content easier to manage and maintain regardless of how great the demand or demographic is. The writing process can be broken into sections. These include pre-writing, research, drafting, revising, and editing. Pre-writing pertains to thinking and deciding on what topics to produce content on and measuring the organization's understanding of these topics. Research pertains to researching the topics, capturing accurate data, validating the reliability of the gathered information, and creating an outline for the continuation of this research. Drafting pertains to getting the thoughts and ideas out on paper or an online document. This enables Holy Water Films to fully think through the ideas and get the script and story going. Revising pertains to increasing the content's value and virtue by making sure it flows and makes sense. And lastly, editing pertains to increasing its accuracy, digestibility, and grammar before finalizing the last draft. There are a multitude of perspectives when it comes to design discourse. One of them focuses on the articulation of designers' competencies when involved with their own work. This allows the designer to push past their initial perception and can open up other possibilities. Another perspective looks at critical examinations of how design discourse is taught, put out, and implemented. With the final perspective, integration of design discourse and security design is the notion that technology is designed, assembled, implemented, and managed specifically to help mitigate flaws that can be exploited before it is promoted on the market. With that now explained, cybersecurity plays a huge role in each of these three sections. One example is, in 2014, a movie called The Interview was released and immediately made headlines as a controversial movie for all the wrong reasons, specifically because of a scene where the political figure and supreme leader of North Korea, Kim Jong-un, died in a gruesome and gory manner. It started a difficult and complex relationship between having creative freedom in films and incorporating sensitive geopolitical occurrences. This dynamic was brought to new heights when Sony Pictures experienced a cyber attack that led to a huge leak of confidential data, email logs, and other multimedia content. The group in charge of the cyber attack, which I believe is considered a ransomware attack, demanded that the movie in question, The Interview, be cancelled from its global and local release. On a smaller scale of day-to-day functions, cybersecurity will give Holy Water Films peace of mind when it comes to protecting the storage devices and servers, cloud and on-premise, that house the film data, scripts, ideas, and rough drafts, personal data of employees and staff involved with the organization, and the security of both public and private banking information. To ensure that the organization remains safe, it is imperative that we understand the threat landscape and identify threats and risk assessments. Online streaming services experience data breaches, content theft, account takeovers, denial of service attacks, malware, and ransomware attacks as the biggest threats. Just like with the cyber attack on Sony Pictures, I believe Holy Water Films might also fall prey to these kinds of attacks, seeing as the organization will house its own content on its own streaming platform and use an abundance of servers. Another kind of threat I believe could be a possibility is insider threats. Just like any other industry, some seek to sabotage other film organizations to increase their standing, or more specifically, to acquire certain projects over other organizations to bolster their reputations. The film industry is no exception. The best ways to mitigate these risks is by utilizing thorough encryption for streaming and personal user data, utilizing multi-factor authentication, implementing frequent security audits and assessments for security weaknesses, staying current with system and software updates, and implementing real-time monitorization and alert systems to help with threat detection and response. Assessing organizational cybersecurity maturity by choosing a framework. The National Institute of Standards and Technology Cybersecurity Framework, or NIST CSF, helps organizations start or improve upon their cybersecurity programs. It implements 5 functions: identification, protection, detection, response, and recovery to manage cybersecurity risks and to promote communication for both internal and external stakeholders about cybersecurity. For bigger organizations, it makes it easier for integration and alignment for cybersecurity risk management. The Canadian Program for Cybersecurity Certification, or CPCSC, is a framework that seeks to strengthen the protection of unclassified federal defense data and permits Canadian suppliers across the entire U.S. of the defense market. The CPCSC functions in parallel to the Cybersecurity Maturity Model Certification, or CMMC. The Cybersecurity Maturity Model Certification framework is composed of maturity levels, controls, processes, and cybersecurity best practices intended for utilization by any organization that provides products or services to the Department of Defense. In developing a heat map, we were able to identify areas where holy water films is most vulnerable. These areas include utilization of web portals and where data theft is highly possible. This occurs because we ask consumers to create user accounts and enter sensitive data to access the holy water film streaming platform. Utilization of third parties and the risks involved with the supply chain. This occurs because of the many moving parts that keep the organization and industry functional. Any disruption to a supply chain can cause many areas to fail or experience loss and cause a domino effect. Utilization of remote jobs. This occurs because COVID-19 changed the methods in which jobs can be done, and is also the reason there was a heavy increase in industries adopting this practice. This enabled access from staff personal devices to business networks, leaving many unsecured or vulnerable endpoints like personal mobile phones, Internet of Things devices, and laptops. These act as vectors for malware, ransomware, and data breaches. Possibilities of extortion by hacktivists or other threats who have information that can be shared or via ransomware attacks. Money is usually the common denominator behind these kind of cyber attacks. The entertainment industry is filled with many opportunities for individuals to usurp wealth and business. There is a long list of people in the industry for cybersecurity, for cyber criminals to attempt to con or manipulate with ingenious or discreet ransomware attacks. Once everything is said and done, implementation and its results will be the deciding factor as to what works and what does not. Starting over and coming up with new other strategic plans for implementation, or what other policies and procedures to incorporate will make for better backup plans or revisory periods to ensure the organization stays current. The roles that are involved with policies and its implementations are numerous. It includes C-level business executives as being the keys to defining the organizational needs for security and the resources that are available to support the policy. The legal department is responsible for the policy meeting all legal requirements and to ensure that the policy remains in compliance with governmental regulations. HR, or Human Resources, department enforces employee policies and provides an explanation for any and all questions, concerns, or lack of comprehension about the information. HR also ensures that employees read over the policy and penalizes those who disregard it. The procurement department takes care of examining cloud service providers, and keeps track of service contracts. The board members help create policies depending on the organization's need and revises and helps to approve these policies. According to Capella University, there are 7 skills that are effective for professional communication. One of them, or these 7 include knowing your audience, which refers to the flexibility and adaptability in communicating with your audience. In layman terms, know how to converse with your audience by making it easy to understand. Active listening, this is a very important one. This refers to taking time to reflect on the chosen topic before responding and having a genuine conversation without a pre-prepared response. Replying before someone finished speaking is not only rude, but indicates lack of listening and care for the conversation. Write professionally and double-check spelling and grammar and avoid any irrelevant terms. When in conversation, make sure to speak thorough, clear, and to the point. Do not talk just to talk. Speak with confidence. Prepare in advance by doing research on your topic, knowing the information, and speaking slower so the audience can keep up with the presentation. Stick to your point without deviating too much with the relevant information, and phone calls can be just as effective, if not more, than emailing. Building rapport with customers or co-workers can establish presence and increase an organization's reputation. Knowing just how to implement these skills can save an organization a world of trouble and increase their efficiency in how they respond to incidents and how they plan and implement policies. I believe the 3 to 5 year InfoSec plan supports the mission of Holy Water Films in a variety of ways. Not only does it provide multiple possibilities on how to construct policies and procedures, but it also ventures into what will maintain the policy moving forward. In order to bring the ideas of believers in Christ Jesus to life and show his word in the actions of media for his glory and kingdom, securing employee personal data, media servers, media content, and storage devices are a must. Holy Water Films cannot reach the one if it cannot protect the immediate 99 who dedicate themselves to his will, the assets given, and the resources that manage the organization. Using frameworks like ISO 27001 and ITSG 33 sets Holy Water Films up to be scalable, to be able to spread the influence and add more believers into the business and create more potent content. The inclusion of a heat map allows the cybersecurity department to be on alert for the highest potential threats the organization may face and how to better equip the personnel as the organization grows. The goals are not as vast as one may think, but this plan covers and will continue to cover the goals set out by the organization via trials and tribulations. Policies, standards, guidelines, and procedures are all very similar, but they touch on and demand different actions. Policies refer to why something needs to be done and the why the requirements are in effect. Standards refers to a set of configurations that will aid in deciding what action needs to be taken. Guidelines refer to the recommended configurations that will aid in building awareness or learning on how these actions should be taken. Procedures fill in the gaps not disclosed or covered by guidelines by providing instructions on who is to do the specific demands and how to do them. Pertaining to frameworks that will help construct the foundation for Holy Water Films, it is imperative that regulatory obligations, business needs, scalability, and organizational support from the leaders are obtained. Without having even a few of these elements, the organization will be setting itself for failure. Frameworks like ISO 27001 helps to establish, implement, and operates studies, looks over, manages, and promotes improvement for information security management systems. The Personal Information Protection and Electronic Document Act, or the PIPEDA, rules for how private sector organizations gather, utilize, and share personal data in pursuit of profitability and commercial activities in Canada. NIST Cybersecurity Framework 2 aids the organization in comprehension, assessments, goals, and communication of cybersecurity risks. It also helps to communicate across all levels of internal teams of the organization and promotes a broader integration of risk management plans. And finally, ITSG 33 is a set of cybersecurity controls that is utilized to support business requirements, guarantees the risk management will be implemented from an organizational standpoint, and is the equivalent to the NIST SP 853, which defines the security control minimums that act as the foundation when determining the requirements for ensuring functionality with low to high impact federal information systems. I hope this video has been very helpful. I hope I was able to cover all of the points and information that is necessary for this assignment, and I hope to look back on this video in a couple of years from now and actually be able to implement the things that I've learned and the things that I believe will greatly impact the film company that I do desire to start. Thank you for your time. Have a blessed day.